Hi there! Thank you for joining me for Dreaming with Dement. I think it's safe to say we've all had some sort of experience with dreaming. Whether you've had a scary dream, a silly dream, or a just plain random dream, we've all had that feeling of waking up in the morning and realizing we had been dreaming. I'm sure you've also had that oddly frustrating experience of waking up, remembering for a split second that you'd been dreaming, and then forgetting all the details. Today, I want to look at the science of dreaming. Much of what we've come to understand about sleep and dreaming is from the work of the father of sleep research, Nathaniel Kleitman, and his student, Bill Dement, the father of sleep medicine. In 1957, Dr. Dement published a study in which he attempted to objectively measure dreaming. He used a procedure called forced awakenings. Electrodes were placed on participants' scalps to collect brain activity and establish sleep cycles. Then, at various points in the night, subjects were awakened and asked to recall whether they were dreaming. Dement recorded the number of dream recalls during both rapid eye movement, or REM sleep, and non-REM sleep. The results of the study found that subjects uniformly showed a high incidence of dream recall following REM awakenings and a very low incidence of recall following awakenings during periods of non-REMs. He also found that dreams were more likely to be recalled during REM periods later in the night, and that dream duration seemed to correlate with the length of the REM period. So I set out to test some of Dement's conclusions. I used a forced awakening procedure on myself to test whether we're more likely to dream earlier or later in the night. Since I had no way of knowing when exactly I would be in REM sleep, I had to approximate it. Research has shown that about every 90 minutes we enter a REM period, so I woke myself up every hour and a half and recorded verbally whether I had been dreaming at the time of arousal and what the content of that dream was. Here's an interesting and entertaining example of the type of dreams that I recorded.
It's 5 o'clock. I did have a dream that a guy had a dog and an alligator on a leash. Another guy had 2 alligators, and the 2 alligators wanted to eat the dog, and neither owner could control the alligator. And one of them really wanted to let the other introduce them, and everyone was really nervous.
I repeated the forced awakening procedure for 5 non-consecutive nights, maintaining a consistent bedtime and wake time. This resulted in a total of 30 forced awakenings throughout the study. My results did confirm what Dr. Dement had found. Of all the dreams I had, about 3/4 of them occurred later in the night, after the midpoint of sleep. Furthermore, on average, I recalled approximately twice the number of dreams after the sleep midpoint relative to before the sleep midpoint earlier in the night. One interesting result I found was that the duration of dream recall, how long it took me to describe the dream, was higher after the sleep midpoint for each experimental night. And, on average, the length of dream descriptions later in the night were about 3.5 times longer than dreams earlier in the night. The results of this self-study support the hypothesis that not only are we more likely to recall our dreams later at night, but that our dreams may also be longer closer to our final wake-up time. This coincides with research that suggests that we're in REM longer later in the night, and it also coincides with Dement's findings that the length of the REM period correlates to the length of the dream. Understanding when we dream has inspired further research on the neurobiology and functionality of dreaming. Although we still don't understand exactly why we dream, with advancements in technology such as EEG and fMRI, we're discovering more and more about such an interesting aspect of the human experience.